Do you have a completed and polished Hollywood screenplay but no idea how to get it into the right hands? Let's talk about all the different ways that you can market your screenplay. So the first way is kind of not really in vogue anymore. This is kind of the old days, and that is a query letter or a query email. This is where you would solicit a production company or an agent or a manager and basically just ask them to read your screenplay. Don't ever send your scripts unsolicited to any company or manager. Don't stick it in an envelope and don't drop it off. They won't take it. Now, this really doesn't work. They kind of ignore those. Every once in a while, if you have an amazing story, like you used to be a CIA agent and you have a story about your career in the CIA or something that would just make people take notice, then you might be able to send an email to a production company and ask if they would like to read your screenplay. But if you just work at Best Buy and there's nothing too different about your background, you could still have the most amazing story about a CIA agent ever, but they're probably not going to take your query email too seriously. So that's kind of an old way to solicit, is query letters or query emails. But a great way to break in is contests. And the website to go to for screenplay contests is moviebites.com. I'll put a link down below. That will show you all the upcoming contests, all the information. You'll get report cards. People make comments about different contests. It'll give you the web pages for the contests. And I put down below in the links kind of the most major contests, because there are a lot of different contests, and some of them the industry takes seriously and some of them not so much. So I won the Nicholl Fellowship. That's definitely very major in the industry. Other contests that are significant are things like the Page Awards, Final Draft's Big Break, Austin. I just won top 3 in Tracking B, and the Insider, as he calls himself, he's awesome. So there are a lot of different contests, and those can break you in. The other good thing about contests is we all make this mistake. Trust me, we all make this mistake. Sending your material out too soon before it is ready. So when you enter your script in a contest, if 6 months later you realize, oh my gosh, that had so many problems, I did a rewrite, I made it so much better, just the contest saw it, no one important saw it, it didn't place high in the contest, as opposed to getting it in the hands of a potential agent manager and it wasn't ready for prime time and you kind of burn the bridge and burn the reed. So contests are a very low risk way of tiptoeing into Hollywood. Then there are also some what I call like listing services. There's 2 main ones, and there's some more starting to crop up. So one of them is Inktip. Inktip is more if you have a movie that you wouldn't mind going straight to television, or it's maybe a red box, or it's kind of more of a low budget movie. There are screenwriters who are totally making a living selling their screenplays on Inktip, and that's a listing service where producers can go onto the site and they can search for a type of script they're looking for. They can look for certain character roles they're looking for, certain genres, and they can read your log line. And I haven't been there in a long time. I don't know if they can automatically download your script or if you have to give them permission to download your script. Either way, it's direct access between you and producers who are looking for screenplays. There's a lot of success stories there, but if you've got something that's like big budget that only a studio could do, that wouldn't be the place to put your screenplay. That's more for lower budget screenplays. If you do have a bigger budget Hollywood giant spectacular that would cost $100 million, you don't want to put it on Inktip, you're gonna more look at like the Blacklist. What is the Blacklist? The Blacklist used to just be a list that came out every year that all the producers voted on what they thought were the best unproduced screenplays they read that year. So it was this list that came out every year, and then eventually it became a website. So it's a website where you can go and you can put your screenplay up there, and so producers can again search for different types of material they're looking for. They can directly access your screenplay. You can also pay for I don't know if they call it coverage, they might call it coverage. You can pay for reads, and if it gets a high enough number of reads, they'll sometimes feature it to all of their industry insiders, and it gets more attention. So you can also have direct access to producers by putting your script on the Blacklist. Another is Spec Scout. I don't know as much about that one, but you can also get your material on Spec Scout. So another way to get your face in front of Hollywood, literally, are pitch festivals. They're in-person pitching. And this is kind of like speed dating. You basically go into a big room where there are all these producers or agents and managers sitting in chairs, and then like there's a certain ding or a time changes, and then you go and sit in front of that producer or manager, and you have like 5 minutes to pitch them your material, and then they contact you later and say whether or not they want you to send them the script. So those can be very fun and also allow you to come to Los Angeles, kind of feel like the dream is a possibility, and meet with other screenwriters, that kind of thing. And the ones that I know of are like the Great American Pitch Festival, Hollywood Pitch Festival, and then the Story Expo, I think, has a pitch fest inside of the expo. That's the Golden Ticket Pitch Fest. So in-person pitch festivals, I'll put all the links for them down below. Then another way to pitch to Hollywood are Skype pitches. That's where you have your little webcam in front of your computer, and you would sign up to pitch with a particular agent or a particular producer or a manager, and then at a set time they would call you on Skype, and then you would just on the Skype camera pitch while you see the producer or the agent on the other side. That's kind of a weird dynamic because it's different than someone in person. You can't really bounce off them. The energy is kind of weird. They just kind of stare at you like you're a TV. So you just have to know they're not going to interact with you much. They're just going to sit there and expect you to perform like you're a TV show. And so you have to kind of get used to how to do those. You might practice with your webcam a couple times on that one. The places to go for Skype pitches, Roadmap Writers, and then also Stage 32 Happy Writers. They also do Skype pitches. Now, if the idea of having to pitch on Skype or actually talk to a producer makes you break out in hives because you're so nervous, you can also just pay a manager or a producer or an agent to read your screenplay. You can just pay them. Now, sometimes some of the people that you're paying, they might be like very new at the production company, so they might be the assistant, or they might be a very new producer, but that's fine because they are still a gatekeeper. They can still take it to their higher ups. That's not a problem. So both at like Roadmap Writers and Stage 32, you can pick a certain company that you think would be good for your material. You could just pay them to read the script, and if they like it, they'll want to meet with you and it can go further. Or if it's not for them, you're still going to get great feedback back. You could get some great notes. You're going to get more insight into why they liked it, why they didn't like it. So that is another way to go. The paying for someone who is a Hollywood insider to read your screenplay. Then there's also online written pitches. This is where you would do a written pitch, like a little log line, a little something about your screenplay, and that would get sent to either an agent or a manager or a producer. And the place to go for that is Virtual Pitch Fest. So you pay for each pitch that you send. But the great thing about that website is they're guaranteeing the person is actually going to look at it and you're going to get a timely response. So you get to choose what companies you want to pitch to. It's not like they're going to just make them random. You buy little packages of pitches, and then you know for sure your pitch is being seen, and then you can have your screenplay read that way. And finally, there are coverage services with scouting. Instead of you paying a particular agent or a particular producer to read your screenplay, it's more a well-respected company that you pay them to have a reader give coverage on your script, but then they have connections with a lot of different industry insiders, and if the coverage comes back high enough, like it might need to be a consider or a recommend, they will then pick up the phone or type emails or somehow contact all of their industry people and get it into the right hands. There's Script Pipeline, Script Arsenal. At the Writer's Store, there's Script Expert. The Blacklist also promotes material that scores highly in evaluations. And if there are any other sites that you know of, let me know, and I will keep the description below this video constantly updated with new information. So I hope that helped you come up with a game plan of how you can get your script into the hands of Hollywood. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and I will talk to you later. Bye!